Hi everyone, and welcome to this Rage 2 review. After playing it properly, not just beelining the story and complaining about the time it took to beat it, I'll be giving you a more in-depth analysis. Let's start with the story. While yes, it's true you probably could beat the story in roughly 5 to 7 hours, and it's very mediocre, there's nothing special about it. You don't feel angered in the beginning, which can be misinterpreted to think you should. You don't feel any sense of attachment towards any characters. If you are wanting a story-driven game with deep-rooted lore, then Rage 2 isn't for you. This is an open-world, action-packed game. It isn't focused on the story. It has one simple objective to accomplish for you, and that is to be stupidly fun. Beelining the story is not how a game like this is meant to be played. I mean, we're talking about a game where you can have Danny Dyer being your commentator, for goodness sake, calling you a mug for not using your overdrive when it's charged, and complimenting you, saying how you are a legend or the dog's bollocks. You have bandit dens to clear, mutant dens, convoys to destroy, sentry turrets, Abaddon Crusher mutants, which are legendary mutant bosses that have their own area to clear. You have car races, a Mutant Bash TV show, which one part involves you running through and gunning various mutants for people's entertainment, while the other arena has mutants flying at you out of cannons, and you have to shoot them before they touch the ground. These are just some examples of the other activities you can do in the game. You have also probably read about how the story is locked behind a level requirement in order to be able to complete the final mission, which is true. As shown here, you have to be level 5 with each faction. Now this sounds bad, and I can understand that viewpoint. Some have even compared it to Anthem's same tactic of locking missions behind a grind. The issue here though, is if you are having to grind in order to meet that requirement, you aren't playing the game the intended way. I was level 10, 11 and 12 with these factions after a total of 16 hours gameplay going into the final mission. Go out into the wasteland, go shoot baddies, go shoot mutants with your crazy weapons and abilities, go explore and have fun. The biggest pro for this game is the combat. It feels very fluid, it feels refined. The abilities and weapons you use make you feel almost invincible the way you cut through enemies and how natural combinations come to you. Personally, I love using the slam in combination with the vortex grenade. That is fantastic to see and extremely smooth to do. You don't feel any hesitation or lag or feel that any ability or weapon is clunky. It all flows naturally and quickly together. The shotgun will be your best friend once you get it in early game, especially when used in overdrive. In short, it's a beast. The vehicle combat is also very well done and very fun once you get the hang of it. There are various upgrades such as cruise missiles, 20mm cannons and a blast to expose convoy weak points. There are a couple of issues with vehicle combat though. For people using mouse and keyboard for example, it can be rather agitating. Rather than steering left and right with your mouse, you steer with A and D while aiming your guns with your mouse. Also, having the vehicle's blast ability the same as dodge really doesn't help, meaning you may accidentally dodge off a cliff or into a car parked on the side of the road. One other fault with vehicles in general is if you do have a commentator on in your game and you have overcharge active, they will remind you fairly frequently that you have it, even though you can't use it while you are in a vehicle.
You've got overdrive. Use it, you mug. You've got overdrive. Use it, you mug. You've got overdrive. Use it, you mug.
These issues can be annoying when it comes to vehicle combat, but they aren't huge or game-breaking issues, more just annoyances and inconveniences. There is, however, one vehicle in particular that has a large flaw. This is the Icarus. It's the only flying vehicle in the game. The flaw with this vehicle is its horrible elevation detection. Unlike other games where you can fly, they usually have a default max height of the map. Take GTA 5 for example. You can only elevate until the point where you hit the maximum height. The Icarus works slightly differently. Rather than having the same mechanic as GTA 5, it detects how high above the ground you are and allows you to a certain height. The issue here is that detection can be horrible. As you can see, trying to elevate to get over this cliff is extremely difficult due to the poor detection surrounding the Icarus. Sometimes this causes your vehicle to jolt up and smack into cliffs protruding over you. Next, let me show you the difference in difficulty. This boss is a difficult rating 7 out of 10. Coming up, you will see on the left is the boss on normal difficulty, and on the right, the boss on nightmare difficulty. As you could see, the difficulty didn't seem too different, and that's one of the issues with this game. As the game progresses, you expect it to get harder, but it really doesn't feel that way. In order to get a challenge later on in the game, I would suggest turning up the difficulty rather than hoping you'll find something that will be an extreme challenge. This game itself is visually good. The graphics you are seeing in this video are all set to max settings. As you can see, there aren't any tears or graphical anomalies. The visuals feel very solid. The abilities look great, the guns look fantastic, the environment has a good amount of detail, and I haven't seen any rendering issues yet either. So what about these abilities and weapons? What can you do with them? Well, in your inventory, you can see you have throwables and some health items. In your abilities or nanotrites, you have a good selection of abilities to play around with. The best thing about this though is you do not need to switch them at any time. They are all bound to different buttons, so you don't have to worry about switching your build. As you can see, each ability has its own skill tree, allowing you to equip perks that can decrease cooldown amongst various other alternatives. Your weapons also have skill trees that can be unlocked with 2 perks from each level to choose from, apart from the mastery perk. As you can see, I have given my shotgun a great perk that allows me to reload all 6 bullets with just a single bullet reload animation, meaning I spend less time reloading and more time shooting. Projects also have skill trees, the first being one you start off with, and the other 3 you obtain later in the game from each faction. Each faction has their own genre of skills, with purple being combat to help you fight better and more efficiently, gold helping you become better with crafting and throwables, while blue helps you become better at detecting chests and other helpful resources. So is the game worth full price? For me, that's hard to say due to different platform prices and regional prices, but if we go with the standard $60 price tag, I'd say yes, it's worth it. When it comes to games, you have to look at it from a quantity versus quality perspective. Just because a game is short doesn't necessarily mean it's not worth full price. I understand that people want to buy a $60 game that will last them a long time with lots of various things to do. But sometimes, even though you have lots of content, there is no guarantee you'll have fun with all of it. And that's the conclusion about this game. Rage 2 chose quality over quantity. With the time I've put into it, I haven't really had a dull or dreary moment. It's all been about going around, shooting baddies, and blowing stuff up. Overall, I would give the game a solid 8 out of 10. However, there is someone who can sum up the mindset for playing Rage 2. Take it away, Alex.
We're gonna defeat this anti-human scum! We're gonna wreck their world!
I hope this more in-depth analysis of Rage 2 has been helpful and enjoyable. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.